Hello and welcome to Make a Difference, the show about how volunteers are making a difference right here in Montgomery County every day. I'm your host, Sandy Smith. We welcome you here via Zoom due to the current pandemic crisis. Joining us now is Jessica Pryor, Medical Reserve Corps Coordinator with the Office of Health and Human Services. Welcome, Jessica.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on, Sandy.
So, Jessica, explain to us exactly what the Medical Reserve Corps is.
Yeah, so the Medical Reserve Corps is a national network of community-based groups of volunteers. So it encompasses medical volunteers, public health professionals, and others who want to assist their community in activities to promote and strengthen public health, both in emergency response and just to build community resilience. So right now in the COVID-19 response, they really are helping with this emergency response situation. So in Montgomery County, the unit is housed in the Department of Health and Human Services, which is in coordination with Maryland Department of Health. So this is really the premier volunteer group that we are using to support COVID-19 response here in Montgomery County.
Oh, wow, wonderful. Okay, so what types of volunteers are you looking for, i.e. specific skills or licensing? What are you looking for exactly?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, it is kind of a catch-all of many different volunteers. So we are looking for medical volunteers to actually help with the vaccination as well as testing. So these are physicians, nurses of all different levels, the nurse practitioners, RNs, as well as pharmacists and physician's assistants. So those would be the ones that are actually doing clinical involvement and giving vaccinations and those testing. We're also equally looking for non-medical volunteers to help support these sites. So these volunteers will help with things such as client registration, helping people navigate through the vaccination site, documentation of those vaccinations and testing, and general support of those sites. So we really do need those non-medical people to help support those sites. So without these volunteers, we really would not be reaching as many people for testing and vaccination in the county. So these are essential to our efforts to help support this.
Is there a certain age group that you are targeting?
So it is anybody, you do have to be 18 years or older to join, but there's no upper age limit. We would love to have anybody 18 and older.
Okay, great. What safety precautions are you taking to ensure the well-being of the volunteers?
Yeah, so the volunteers really work side by side with our county staff. So they'd be getting all the same precautions and things in place that any county employee would be getting. So this includes the proper PPE. So if you're working at a vaccination site, this includes proper masks for whatever your role is, gloves, gowns, depending on how close of direct interaction you have with people, we would scale up kind of the personal protective equipment barriers that you would be receiving. So we do keep that in mind and try to keep everybody as safe as possible when assisting with this.
Okay, and you provide all of the PPE that is necessary for the at that site.
Correct. We do just ask people arrive with a cloth face covering, and then we'll give them any additional supplies that they need from there.
Okay, great. How can someone volunteer to support COVID-19 vaccinations and testing sites?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, they would want to register as a volunteer with the Maryland Responds Medical Reserve Corps. So there's a couple ways that they could find that. They can go to the county's volunteer website, as well as they can just kind of do an internet search of Maryland Responds Medical Reserve Corps. It'll be the first thing that pops up on your search, or you can go to mdresponse.health.maryland.gov. And there they'll be walked through the registration process. If they are clinically licensed medical providers, they will enter their licensure information, and this will be verified by Maryland Department of Health. And any other relevant skills that they have from any professional experience or other volunteer work, they'll also be prompted to enter that so that we can best utilize their skills to assist with the COVID-19 response.
And do you follow up to verify the licensing and all of those credentials?
Correct. Yes, we do. So Maryland Department of Health verifies those credentials for us. And so they match that with the state licensure boards and verify that they are, in fact, a clinically licensed professional.
Okay, wonderful. And approximately how many volunteers are you looking for?
So this is a huge undertaking that to vaccinate all of the county. So we are looking for pretty much as many people as would like to register. So right now we have about a little over 1,200 that have completed all of the training. And so, we're looking if we could get upwards of 2,000, that would be great.
Wow.
So, additional couple hundred, because we really do use, right now, we're using about 100 volunteers a day between testing and vaccination. And so we'll continue to expand that as more vaccines are readily available to help vaccinate the county.
How many sites do you currently have?
So vaccination, we're running about 2 to 3 per day, and testing is usually around 3 to 5 per day, depending. The vaccinations really depend on how many vaccine doses we've been allocated from the state and the federal government. So we really try to push those out as soon as we get them to the county residents. And so the volunteers kind of help us have that flexibility that as soon as some vaccines arrive into the county's hands, so we can pull on the volunteers to help support our staffing and scale up and scale down depending on that number of vaccines we have.
Do you have a consistent amount of vaccinations coming in?
Yeah, so we do. So again, that's allocated from the state, and I don't have exact numbers for you, but every week the state does allocate a certain number to the county.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, could you give us that site again, the website again, that volunteers should go to?
Yeah, so it's mdresponse.health.maryland.gov. And they can also always contact me at jessica.pryor, Pryor, at montgomerycountymd.gov.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jessica.
You're welcome.
If you're interested in volunteer opportunities, please go to our website, montgomeryserves.org. I'm your host, Sandy Smith, and thank you for joining us, and let's be sure to make a difference.